He was a portly, balding man of few words, and Angus could tell that he was going to be hard work. Bernard smiled at the client. "Let me introduce you to Angus Lovejoy and his partner Brian Finkel. These two reprobates created our award-winning Real Fires campaign." Angus and Brian stepped forward and shook the limp, pudgy hand of the client, who still hadn't said a word. "Well, chaps, I think we may as well cut to the chase and reveal our proposed campaign to Gary here. Angus, would you like to do the honours?" Angus was going to present, but had suddenly felt terribly anxious, and he now instinctively knew that Brian would be better with this guy. Brian would never get fazed by anything or anyone. He gestured to Brian, who picked up the cue immediately. That's what Angus so liked about Brian. He always knew the score. They may have been very different in so many ways, but when it came to work, they were perfectly in tune with each other and on the same wavelength. It was undoubtedly the key reason for their astonishing success in such a relatively short period of time. Well, there couldn't have been many, if any, creative teams in the business who'd gone and won a D&AD Silver for their very first TV campaign. Brian pulled several presentation boards from a portfolio and placed them face down on the boardroom table. "Let me first thank you for this opportunity to work on your brand. It's the first time Angus and I have had the pleasure of working on diarrhea tablets, and we can see this campaign of ours running and running. To kick off, I'm going to present you our strapline for the campaign. As you know, your product is purchased predominantly by holidaymakers, so we have built our campaign around this premise and propose to run this strapline on all work that we produce, whether it be in print, TV or radio." Brian revealed the first board with a white headline reversed out of a black background. It read, "Don't let your stomach upset your holiday." Bernard chuckled to himself while the client sat stony-faced and totally unresponsive. Brian continued in his assured manner. I'd like to show you our press campaign first," he said, and then revealed a double-page spread that was taken up primarily with images of toilets. Underneath each was a location such as the Empire State Building, New York, the Uffizi Gallery, Florence, La Scala, Milan, and so on. "As you can see," continued Brian, "we have here a veritable smorgasbord of public conveniences around the globe, and our headline reads, 'Tourist spots to avoid this summer.'" At this point the client scowled and chose to speak. "There seems to be a careless error in your layout." "I beg your pardon?" "Yes, a careless error. Third toilet from the bottom, right. It's all skew width. Like I said, a careless error." Brian laughed. "Oh no, that's not an error. It's deliberate. You have to read the title beneath it." Gary placed reading glasses on his nose and peered at the offending toilet. "Leaning Tower Pisa? I suppose you think that's funny."